By the way, in investing, you always want to invest where all the bad people are. Well, as strong as I think I am, I couldn't break that gold bar in half. Even if I couldn't stuff it in the computer and send it to you. With a couple taps of a keystroke, I can send you Bitcoin instantaneously. Anywhere in the world.
마크 유스코는 미국의 유명한 투자 전문가이자 오랜 시간 동안 전통 금융과 암호화폐 투자에 대한 깊은 통찰력을 바탕으로 비트코인의 장기적인 성장 가능성을 강력하게 지지하고 있는 인물 중 하나인데요. 오래전부터 코인에 대한 그의 예측은 높은 적중률을 보이고 있고, 그는 인터넷, 모바일 네트워크에 투자한 과거 경험을 통해 이제는 진실의 네트워크인 비트코인의 시대가 왔다고 말합니다.
So, 96, I'm sitting in South Bend, Indiana, and we're investing in the internet, Google, eBay. I remember the board said that. Why would you buy a garage sale company? Like, well, because if you have a garage sale in your neighborhood, you're dependent on a few people driving by your house. If you have a garage sale for the world, it's probably going to be pretty profitable. So we made a lot of money in the internet. And so then in 2010, I was actually back in Seattle at Craig McCaw's family office. And I asked his guy, do you think the mobile net will be as big as the internet? He's like, Mark, are you joking? Ask people if they want a computer. They're like, whatever. Ask them if they want a phone. They're like, I already got two. I don't need another one. Yeah, it'll be bigger than the internet. So the mobile net was huge. So then fast forward another 14 years, 2024, last year, now we have the truth net, which both of you and I experienced, interestingly, in the same year in 2013, in that there is this thing that changes or exchanges trust for truth, which are blockchains and ultimately Bitcoin. So I told you I don't do short well. So that's kind of my history throughout all this, except for the point about 2013. Why is 2013 so important? But in 2013, and what happened is I have this friend, Dan Moorhead, very famous Bitcoiner, runs Pantera. We've been friends for 35 years. When he was at Goldman Sachs, and he went to Tiger Management. And then when he wanted to start his hedge fund, Pantera Macro, we were one of his first clients. And that was one of the things that I did. In fact, at one point I was called the Madonna of hedge funds, because I was that guy on stage telling everyone the hedge funds were good when everybody said that's where all the bad people are. By the way, in investing, you always want to invest where all the bad people are. Every industry, right? In the early days of cell phones and pagers, drug dealers, it was all the bad people. Then the early days of the internet, porn, okay? All the bad people. Then the early days of Bitcoin, oh, drug dealers again. Now look, in 2013, I was not running drugs on Silk Road. I was not a cryptography student. So when Dan called me up and said, hey, come to San Francisco, I'll buy you dinner. I'm like, great, have dinner with my friend. He says, hey, I'm giving back all the money and I'm going to spend the rest of my career in Bitcoin and blockchain. Dan, why would you give back $1 billion charging 2 and 20? And he said, well, this is going to be big. It's going to be bigger than that. And I'd heard of Bitcoin, but I didn't really understand it. And I was too dumb to actually do any work about it. And I don't mean dumb like stupid. I was skeptical. I'm like, no, this is silly. You know, money works perfectly fine. But blockchain, I understood because we had made some investments in blockchain. And blockchains are simply operating systems. The artists always got paid, but the writers, it was kind of catch and catch can. So all this goes back to analog goes to electronic, goes to digital. So let's take gold. Well, as strong as I think I am, I couldn't break that gold bar in half. Even if I couldn't stuff it in the computer and send it to you. But with a couple taps of a keystroke, I can send you Bitcoin instantaneously, anywhere in the world for free. So now if I want to send you value, I have a Bitcoin. The world, the network of thousands and thousands of nodes, 51% say, yep, Mark has a Bitcoin. He wants to send it to Mauricio. Okay, great. He sent it. Mauricio's got it. Now it's his. Once that occurs, I can't say, well, I had 2 because I only had 1. I can't say I didn't give it to you because the network approves it. So we went from trust, we had to trust the banks and the intermediaries, to truth. And that was the biggest aha moment of all. So The reason I'm sitting here and the reason you would want to talk to me or I would want to talk to you is you believe in Satoshi as I do, that what Satoshi Nakamoto gave us, and what he gave us is this amazing gift of truth. And truth does a couple of different things. It actually liberates, and I know that's a bad word now because Trump used it for Liberation Day, which is just so ridiculous. But it really does liberate the $7 trillion a year, which is a big number. I mean, 7 trillion is a big, big number. Remember, 1 trillion is $1 every second for 31,710 years. It's a lot of money. So 7 trillion is spent globally in the trust industry. Banks, brokers, insurance companies, auditors, accountants, all the people that have to make sure that Mark's money, which is no longer Mark's money, because once I put the money in the bank, it's now the bank's money, and I have an IOU that I can say, hey, take some of that money that I gave you and send it to Maurizio. Okay, that's fine, but let's say they don't like what you do. They don't like that you wear a Satoshi hat. This actually happened to me the first time I tried to transfer money to Coinbase. So we were early investors in Coinbase, and I went to transfer some money to my account, and the Bank of America said, and I will name names because I'm mad at them, they said no. Like, what do you mean no? Well, we'll do it in 14 days. What do you mean 14 days? That's my money. I said, didn't you read the fine print? Of course I didn't read the fine print. Nobody reads the fine print. It was their right to not transfer the money for 14 days. Like, that's ridiculous. So I no longer bank with Bank of America. I was pissed off about that. And so replacing trust with truth is a really big deal. And therefore, Bitcoin, as the ultimate first use case of a blockchain to transfer value peer-to-peer, meaning no third-party trust institution in the middle, no Medicis, no Morgans, no Rockefellers, no nobody, just Mark and Maurizio get to transfer value.
Do you reckon first we have to agree collectively that Bitcoin is money and build after on top of it?
It's such a great point. And so I think the answer is yes, but it's really the critical insight. And I've been struggling with this a little bit, but I don't think I'm struggling anymore.
I think one of the issues we are facing now, I would like to call it opportunity, is the fact that there is so much digital happening and there is no concept of ownership. So who owns what? We are missing the fact that I can say, it is mine and I can prove it.
The proving, again, is such an important point. We live in a world now with the emergence of good AI. Like, AI is not new. AI has been around for 70 plus years. It's an overnight, 70-year overnight success story. But now it's got some usable tools. But the real problem is image to video technology is good enough now that you can't necessarily believe everything you see. And we need community notes and other things to say, nope, that image isn't real, it was generated with AI. Well, in a blockchain world, we can know the authenticity of everything. Every photo, every video, every interaction, every transaction can be verified on-chain. And that's why I say as we move into an on-chain world where everything is decentralized, not centralized and controlled by a small number of powerful tech companies, but actually nation stateless, borderless. Now, this is a little scary for countries. They're like, whoa, how do I tax that? And how do I control that? Well, that's the problem. You don't get to control it. And that's a good thing. A decentralized world is better than a centralized world, and a truly global world, as we're seeing with this nonsense with trade wars. Free trade, since Adam Smith wrote the book like 500 years ago, it's been proven it's a superior model. And so anytime we assault free trade decentralization, things get less good. Anytime we embrace those things get better. And all of that eventually comes true, but it just takes time. Look, you can make a lot of money as an investor if you're willing to go through the pain early. In fact, that's why it's my pinned tweet. The greatest wealth comes from investing in innovation. Now, in order to do that, you have to invest in something that you believe in before others even understand it.
마크 유스코는 비트코인의 전송 가능성과 진정한 소유권 개념, 탈중앙화 사회로의 전환, 그리고 국가와 금융기관의 신뢰 체계를 넘어서는 진실 기반의 가치 전송 시스템으로서 블록체인의 역할을 강조합니다. 우리는 객관적인 시각으로 투자를 해야 하고 지금 당장만 보고 투자할 게 아니라 미래를 보고 투자를 해야겠죠. 010-2472-0429 전화번호로 탈개미 적어서 문자 보내주시면 2025년 비트코인과 코인 시장에 대한 분석, 정보들 공유해드리겠습니다. 현재 우리에게 중요한 것은 이러한 정보를 어떻게 활용할 것인가입니다. 지금까지 영상 시청해주셔서 감사하고요. 다음에 더 좋은 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.